You guys saw the economic talk last year by Alex. I'm going to butcher the last name, but we'll just say C. Super smart guy. Really looking forward to that. What do you think?
Alex, the economist, we saw him at ThreadX in Utah. Could be, of all talks in the printing industry, in my top 10 favorite talks of all time. Maybe top 5. In fact, he layered over. It's because you missed it, Bruce, because he highlighted you and all of the cool data you have and actually compared the economy to the data that you publish, and talked about trends and what we should be looking out for and what to expect in an election year. And it was the first time I heard an economist talk and actually understood it instead of like what I learned in Econ 101. So it was magnificent. Justin, what'd you think?
Yeah. Me and Brett Bowden at Printed Threads spent a day together a month or so back, and I didn't get to make it out to ThreadX this year, but he referenced the same talk, and he used this. It's called the PMI, this Purchasing Managers Index. And what he had done is, Bruce, he took your Printavo open source data where it showed the trends over time. Then he overlaid this Purchase Managers Index over that. Then he overlaid Printed Threads, like gross annual revenue or, trends over that. And then we then overlaid Oklahoma Shirt Companies on top of that. And it is chilling how accurate that Purchasing Managers Index is as an indicator of what our sales are doing. Like you overlay it over our years, and I'm talking 3, 4, 5 years in spans, and it is right along with it. So it's a fascinating predictor for sure.
I'm very interested to hear what he says about this year so far, because I feel there's such mixed feelings. Some people doing pretty good. Some people say they're totally in the dumps and closing. What does the macro generally look like? I mean, Farag, if you were to predict based on just the murmurs you hear and the folks you're around, what do you think?
It's harder to get money. Labor's expensive, and demand is moving up market to different companies. So I think our industry is under a small bit of attack to make yourself relevant in 2024. I don't know how the election year is going to do it. Everyone's always going to need t-shirts, right? But it's going to be a matter of where do those start to go to. We're seeing some interesting consolidation up with some of the bigger companies in our space. So I'm sure there's going to be some trickle down.
Justin, how about you? Do you have the same thought, or what would your prediction be?
I feel like I've just been lost since the pandemic, really. And it's still like when I think that I'm gaining clarity or I'm gaining confidence in what we're doing, that sometimes is reinforced. And then sometimes I'm just wrong. When I compare our sales this year to last year, we were looking at it earlier. We had a $600,000 month in August last year, this time. And we had a $350,000 month in August this year. And so part of that is because of some course correction that we've done ourselves. And there's a few really big contract clients that were in there that we do not service anymore. But our cost of goods remained the same. But our gross sales are what has changed. So it's interesting. I don't know. Quarter 3 is traditionally our most profitable quarter. And so not our most profitable, but our biggest quarter. And our September is a little behind what it was last year, but it's catching up. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that October is going to be big, but it's different. It's just different. I don't know if there really is a recession coming, or if we're in it, or if it's some sort of something new we haven't recognized, but it's hard to predict. So what we're doing is just shoring up our internal processes and trying to make sure that, our pricing is right, our staffing is right, and our customers are diversified like they should be, so that we can just try to be as rock solid as we can be.
That's interesting. Mainly that the top line is different than the baseline here. I mean, how do you interpret that?
Again, like I said, for us, I just discovered this yesterday. So we were reviewing it yesterday. So again, I think that's because our specifically contract customers that were providing us garments. We weren't buying garments for them. So that's why like our COGS would similar, be the same, but we're not doing nearly the volume that we were. But also it means that we're doing more of the right kind of work. Like we're doing less work, but we're doing more profitable work, which is, what we need to be doing.
Justin, do you guys track contract work and direct work separately, or is it just all under one?
It's all under one. And for us, we only have like 5 contract accounts, wholesale accounts really. So like that's really more of a it's easy for us to identify like where those things are going, because we don't do a ton. Like last year, for example, this time in August last year, we did an enormous amount of work for Five Boys, those guys, and we print, and that was quick. Like we started working with them, and it was almost right as they were really catching fire. We were doing a ton of outsourced work for them. I believe you even made that introduction. Thank you. I think we went pretty fast and furious with them for about 3 months, and then it just kind of stopped. And maybe I don't know what that was. I never really got any sort of explanation, but I noticed that is we're not servicing them anymore, and they were responsible for a lot of revenue in August and September of last year. We had another customer that we were servicing, T-Turtle, a big online retailer that sells stuff. We do not print for them anymore, and so they made up a lot of our revenue. So again, that's where I think that it's happening. And so all things considered, if we take a couple customers off of us, we're kind of still printing the same stuff. When I look at our local customers and I look at like who did we print for a lot last year, and then we're still printing for those people. I don't think we're shedding local customers, but it's just odd, I don't know.
And like you guys made a run with the Thunder. Well, that changes the landscape of your business completely. Right. But I feel like if you and I were to look at our businesses over the last 10 years, every year there was some blip that happened in a weird way. Like the Thunder Illinois went to the final, or whatever, Elite 8. Like we got 100,000 piece mask order. I think you can just commit to knowing you're going to have these one-time blips, and then you're like, I bet you could go back and see them and like, oh, that was the Five Boys thing, or oh, that was mass craziness or whatever. So
EIDL, that was PPP. That was
all that was PPP.
Yeah, 100%.
Justin, I'm going to ask you something. When you meet with your team, is there gut